And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dylan Holy Experience Midweek Market Recap. To be more specific, it's 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in California, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those of you on the East Coast. And we have a jam-packed midweek market recap for you. So let's just stop bullshitting and let's get into what's going on with the market. Stock futures were flat on Wednesday as investors await the next market catalyst. Futures linked to the S&P 500 ticked higher by 0.01%, while NASDAQ 100 futures inched up by 0.01% as well. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 12 points or 0.04%. In after-hours action, GameStop shares tumbled 19%. The video game retailer fired its CEO, Matthew Furlong, and appointed Ryan Cohen as the executive chairman. So GameStop is going through some shifts right now. I'm not going to lie, I don't personally own any GameStop. I know there's a lot of members of the millions that are now long-term investors into GameStop and Bed Bath & Beyond and AMC, of course, during the meme stock blow-ups of early February 2021. And I guess like last year, Bed Bath & Beyond. Everything just feels like a blur. But yeah, I know there's some people that are still holding GameStop, and I'm sure they are down bad. This is a down horrendous move. GameStop is literally down 19.2%. That's rough, bro. Let's just take a look at the yearly. It's in a range. It's trended downward, but it's been kind of in a range. But I mean, it's higher than where it was, I guess, but not many people got into GameStop at $4. Most people got into GameStop at like $50. So, I don't own GameStop. It's a legacy business model. And the only reason it's like kind of in the cultural zeitgeist still is because of Reddit and because of Wall Street Bets. So for all the Wall Street Bets holders and members of the millions that own GameStop, I'm very sorry for you. I'm not going to lie. And I think that, this company specifically was like the peak of the euphoria age in terms of investing. Like it was the peak of the everything bubble. And yeah, I mean, dude, it's like basically every asset from 2020 to early 2022, and it was caused by a low interest rate environment. Now, speaking of interest rates, the Federal Reserve is meeting next week for its June meeting. Speaking of which, come on, baby, that segue right there, smooth as hell. We went from GameStop to futures rates for The Federal Reserve meeting in June, I don't know, man, kind of big. But let's see what's going on here. So futures traders are basically pricing in a 68% chance that the Federal Reserve is bumping interest rates or is keeping interest rates the exact same. So they're not going to be fucking with it. They're going to keep it at the 500 to 525 basis point range. They're not bumping it to 525, 550, or at least that's not what futures traders are pricing in. And that's interesting. That is actually quite significant. And this is not saying that like people pricing in things that the Federal Reserve does. This is not saying that the Federal Reserve is going to do it by any means. Again, not financial advice. But if we start wargaming the scenario ahead where let's say the Federal Reserve keeps interest rates the exact same. I know several banks that actually today rose interest rates and annual percentage yields on certificate of deposit products, money market savings accounts. So now is when the market is actually like in terms of consumer grade products and investment products and demand deposit accounts, they're actually raising the interest rates like right now. They're playing catch up to it. And I think that we're probably going to be, I think going off of what these futures traders are pricing in, I think we're probably going to be kind of chilling for the time being. The Federal Reserve is going to see how everything goes, or more specifically, how the market drops, because these are the highest rates that we've seen in terms of interest rates since just before the 2008 financial crisis. And check this out. This is another interesting thing, and I put this up on Twitter today. Hat tip to Sagar Singh Satia, the macro guy. I found this and I saved the image and I hat tipped him. But S&P 500 futures are the most short they have ever been. This is insane. Like, the market is more short now on the S&P 500 than just before the 2008 financial crisis. And what's interesting is if we're looking at like macro stuff in terms of what's been going on with just the entire market, like I'm talking about like how the stock market's been moving, how the real estate market's been moving, how interest rates have been moving. There is a lot of rhyming going on from the 2008 financial crisis. Very, very interesting stuff. Keep in mind, in the 2008 financial crisis, I was 6 years old. So definitely take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's pretty insane stuff what's going on right now. And I think that if the Fed does not bump the interest rates, I think that could act as the market catalyst in terms of like possibly taking the market upward. I mean, like every time we've raised interest rates, the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones have gone down for the day. And they've definitely trended downward. But I think like we're probably at the peak right now of interest rates. So we'll see. I think that after that, we're going to go into some quantitative easing. I mean, we've had the most aggressive quantitative tightening in United States history over the last like year. It's actually pretty absurd. Now, speaking of the S&P 500 with the short interest and all that fun stuff, the biggest proponent of the S&P 500 is Apple Incorporated. And they recently had their WWDC 2023 conference. Their event, they introduced the Apple Vision Pro in the era of spatial computing. And you bet your sweet bucket we're going to be talking about that. Speaking of which, I did put up a brief explanation of what's going on with the Apple Vision Pro over on basically all of my socials. So over on Twitter, on TikTok /DylanHoley, or twitter.com/@RealDylanHoley. And also thank you to the millions. They, man, that video blew up. This is my highest watched video in, like, on my entire profile. So thanks for the love. I appreciate it. And hopefully y'all learned something and were entertained. But going forward with WWDC, they introduced the 15-inch MacBook Air with M2, with the Apple M2 chip, the Mac Studio with M2 Max, and M2 Ultra, and the Mac Pro with the M2 Ultra chip as well, which does complete the Mac transition to Apple Silicon. And there are also previews of iOS 7, iPad OS 7, Mac OS Sonoma, and Watch OS 10. We're going to talk about a little bit of stuff. We're going to be talking about iOS 17 because that's pretty interesting to me. We're going to be talking about what's going on with iPad OS 17 as well. And we're going to be talking about Mac OS Sonoma. We're going to be doing a little bit of that. Excuse me while I bring some stuff up. Mac OS Sonoma, bada boom, bada bing. Where is it? Perfect. And, oh yeah, we'll definitely do the Mac Pro. Definitely want to talk about Mac Pro. And then we're going to do, of course, the Apple Vision Pro. But we're going to do that right at the end. Oh, but it looks so cool. It looks so cool. Okay, moving on. iOS 17, there's actually some kind of interesting stuff. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is the, it's going to be like a charger view, but it's like or I think it's like standby mode exactly is what they call it. But like when you're charging, you'll basically be able to have this on your nightstand. Same thing with this. Like it's actually pretty cool. I actually really like this. But moving on, they have custom contact pictures now in terms of your like if someone calls you, then you'll be able to see them or their Memoji, their avatar person, which kind of cool. But also kind of like, hey, we're getting closer and closer to Black Mirror every day. Woo! Yay! Yay! We love it! Yay! Shout out to dystopian science fiction that's slowly turning into just like dystopian society. Because Black Mirror is fucking crazy. But moving on, you'll be able to get a live transcript of the message in the same way that that Google does it on their phones with the Pixels, but it's nice that it's going to be on iPhone now. It's basically call screening. You're going to be able to like do more advanced call screening. You are going to be able to have there's a redesigned messages thing for like your like different stickers and gifts and stuff like that. It looks a lot better as opposed to just it all being cluttered. You'll be able to let you'll be able to let your friends know that you got home safe. So it's kind of like Life 360, but it's an iPhone, which is cool. Let's move on. Catch up and swipe to reply. I guess you can swipe to reply now. Better search filters, which is kind of cool. Moving on, more advanced stickers. You can do voicemail for FaceTime now. Kind of cool. I like that. If you react with your hands, AI basically senses that and it does a background for you, which is kind of nuts. FaceTime on TV, whatever. Standby. That is pretty cool. This is probably my most anticipated feature because you'll be able to see. I'm all about seeing more information in a beautiful space. So if you can put more, if you can use like my phone better in terms of displaying information, I'm all about that. Like if I can, get the Dow Jones, S&P 500, Bitcoin tickers right on there, and then maybe like the biggest news story of the day, and then my time, like what time it is, that I think that would be awesome. But there is going to be a lot of customizability, so you can have pictures or memories. You can have a calendar, analog clock, digital clock, the time in like Tokyo and stuff like that. Kind of cool stuff. Live activities in full screen, so Uber Eats is preparing your order. You can use Siri and it gives you like a cool query based off of what you ask it, kind of deal. Interactive widgets. So now you'll be able to use a like basically tick something for notes or something like that, and it'll actually be impacted. So it's cool quality of life stuff. AirDrop is really cool now, dude. This is again just quality of life, and it is so awesome. I love this thing. This is one of the coolest things that they introduced in the entire conference, in my opinion. Now you can share with intention, so you can basically do NFC and just have all of the information be transmitted. Kind of cool. You can do a listening session. You can journal now, and Apple says it's secure, but again, you're sharing if you choose to, your deepest, darkest secrets, possibly with the biggest corporation, or not possibly the biggest corporation on planet Earth. So I'm probably not going to use Journal personally, but Y'all do what you got to do. A better keyboard. They have integrated it with large language models. Apple, this is something that Apple was really, really hesitant about using, and that was AI and even for Vision Pro, AI and metaverse keywords. They were really, really lax on or they were really sure to make sure they did not use a lot of that vernacular, which I did think was interesting. But they did enhance the keyboard with large language models, and that's a good thing. That's not like this is just them integrating AI for no reason. No, large language models with keyboards, if you can have a better predictive keyboard, then I think that's a win. I view that as a complete win. And yeah, I think they're also registering keystrokes too. So it's, as it gets better, they are running it off of user data. Like, that's how large language models are programmed. So it is, again, we are getting into a very, very weird place in terms of what people are okay with giving to other companies and other parties in terms of information and the services that they get back for them. Obviously, they sign away, people sign away their rights in terms and conditions in terms of service. Like, that's literally, like, you just sign away any type of privacy for the sake of helping the corporation provide a better user experience. But really, it's just them making more money off of you. Going on, there's different profiles, faster and more relevant search, enhanced private browsing, better share play so people can put music on in the car, collaborative playlists, which, again, not to be like, oh, this has been on other things for like 5 years. It has been on Spotify for 5 years, and I use Spotify over Apple Music because I don't like Apple Music. I don't like how it looks. AirPlay is better. AirPods, they have new adaptive audio, at least on AirPods Gen 2. I have AirPods Gen 1, so I'm not going to be getting this. You can press to mute and unmute. Maps is better, so you can see real-time charging stations in terms of your Tesla or any other EV. You can use Maps in offline use now, which is pretty cool. I like that. Siri activation, you can just say Siri instead of Hey Siri. Moving on, this is pretty cool. This uses AI neural networks to basically look at an image, and if it's of food, then it can pick up on what food that is, and it can recommend recipes that are similar to the dishes in the video. And it gives you a little pop-up for like each thing that there's going to be a recipe for. Kind of cool. But now they're in the health app, there's mental health and vision health features, which do provide powerful insights. Better communication. Safe for or not safe for work and safe for work covers, which is interesting. Or you now have the option to blur sensitive photos. Even more control over what you share in terms of privacy. Let's take a look. So choose which photos to share from your library within an app while keeping the rest of your photos library private. Kind of cool. Lockdown mode increases the security to help protect against sophisticated cyber attacks. Turn it on across all of your Apple devices, now including your Apple Watch. And this is basically it. So that's basically iOS 17. They did not reinvent the wheel, but there's a lot of cool, really, really cool and really, really good quality of life stuff. And we are all about that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every year, but having good quality of life stuff and stuff that can enhance the user experience, that's okay. That's good. This is a good iOS update. Nice. iPad OS 17, which basically takes all of the iOS 17 stuff and then jacks it to 11. So on the lock screen, you can now really personalize your lock screen. You can only do it on one side. So you basically get a bunch of widgets on this side here, but you can't do anything on the right side, or if you flip it, it's only going to be on one side basically. You get live activities, new motion effects for live photo wallpapers, which is pretty cool. Widgets on your lock screen like we talked about. Moving on, interactive widgets again with iOS 17. And there isn't really anything else that's super duper different on iPad OS 17, because it's basically just iPad OS or iOS with a few more things that are made for tablets. Fill out documents faster with autofill, so more enhanced PDF reading and notes. And that's about it. Freeform, I guess you can draw more stuff with more types of stuff, which is pretty cool. I guess we take that. And that's about it. Yeah, nothing else super duper crazy for iPad OS. Moving on, Mac OS Sonoma. Pretty cool stuff over here. Come for the power, stay for the fun. New screensavers, widgets on desktop, which is pretty cool. I really like that. And you can access iPhone widgets on Mac. So because of the Apple walled garden ecosystem, you can basically transmit iPhone data to your Mac, and they work well together. Widgets fade for better focus. Pretty cool stuff. I actually really like how this looks. Awesome stuff. Moving on, put yourself front and center so you can do a presenter overlay, which I think is super duper cool. Like, and this, and they're going to jack this to 11 when talking about what's going on with Vision Pro. But you can now float all over your shared screen, so you can move around and everything too. This is like, it's just quality of life stuff. It's really cool. Use any website like an app, so you can basically put web apps onto your dock. This is, Steve Jobs would be fucking creaming his pants because he loved web apps. Shout out to Steve Jobs. Moving on, PDFs, stickers, same thing with iOS. Keyboard, gaming. For those of you that game on the Mac, there's now game mode, which basically prioritizes your game application or game program over anything else. And this is stuff that makes you feel more responsive and have better audio. So they'll prioritize the game, your headphones if they're wireless, and your wireless controller if you have like a PlayStation or an Xbox, for instance. You hook that in there, it's going to prioritize that and give it some just a twinge more responsiveness and less latency. Going on, privacy and security, they've brought more stuff, and that's kind of it. So Macs are better at gaming, is what they're saying, and you have widgets now. So cool. I guess we take that. Moving on, the Apple Mac, the Apple Silicon Mac transition is complete. Mac Pro transformed by the M2 Ultra, the most powerful computer chip Apple has ever made. It is the most powerful CPU in every Mac Pro, or it is the most powerful CPU that Apple makes. Its GPU is with massive unified memory and it does things that other GPUs can't. And its media engine now has the performance of 7 Afterburner cards built in. Just absurd, dude. It's just crazy. 24-core CPU, up to a 76-core GPU, 800 gigabytes of bandwidth per second, 192 gigabytes of RAM, 22 streams of 8K ProRes video playback, and can support up to 8 displays. It just blows everything out of the water. So if you run the Mac Pro with M2 Ultra versus the Mac Pro with 8-core Xeon W, it blows it out in terms of video rendering by 7.6 times. So like 660%. Mac Pro with M2 Ultra and 76-core GPU blows out the highest, or the baseline 28-core Xeon Mac Pro, Intel Xeon and Radeon Pro W6900X by 2.7x. So it's insane. I know this is what all of the people were looking forward to in terms of Apple's Mac Pro update. They've been waiting for this, and it's customizable, which is really cool. Like you can still put stuff in there, which is kind of awesome. And I'm actually really surprised that Apple did that, because their Apple Silicon computers are rather locked down, and them doing this is pro-consumer. I actually cannot say anything bad about the Mac Pro. I think it's good. I like most of Apple's products, and there's a server rack for it too, so you can do a rendering rack, which is pretty cool. So if you were to fully render or throw like the craziest Mac Pro together, do all this, bada boom, fucking, it would be $12,000, $12,300. Really expensive stuff, but it's a really good computer, so you get what you pay for. Now, speaking of expensive Apple products, every half a decade to a decade, there is a watershed, groundbreaking product that is announced and then released. And I feel like the last time there's been anything that's like truly groundbreaking in terms of putting stuff into people's hands on a mass market was the iPhone. I think the iPhone was the last major really groundbreaking, not just proof of concept, but actually realized and has a use case that is affordable for people. The last product that's really done that on a major scale. And at WWDC on Monday, Apple unveiled the Apple Vision Pro. And I know chat's about to blow up. It's like, well, Dylan, it's $3,500. Yes, but it is the most advanced computer in history. It is. This is the Apple Vision Pro has actually changed this paradigm. And it's like, well, Dylan, but Meta's been doing this for 10 years. Yes, but like, man, Meta, it's still missing some stuff. And everything that Apple showed off with their Vision Pro changes the game. Like, this is a paradigm shifter. And let's see what's going on. So, they are mixed reality. They are a mixed reality spatial computer. Welcome to the era of spatial computing. Apple Vision Pro seamlessly blends digital content with your physical space. You navigate by simply using your eyes, hands, and voice. So you can do things you love in ways never before possible. This is just crazy, man. And what's pretty awesome too is the scale that Apple can actually like transpose. Like, not even the Oculus can really do this, in my opinion. And I have an Oculus Quest 2, or a Meta Quest 2. They did just unveil their Quest 3, which I guess we can also talk about. But it's going to come out early next year, and you can, dude, it's just absurd. Like, a workspace like this is amazing. I mean, this stuff is just beautiful. The ultimate theater, and in the surrounding area, like if it's like a bright room, it can dim everything. Like, it can dim everything around you and just have the movie playing. And it looks like a massive movie theater. You can game on this thing, dude. It's crazy. This thing is amazing. You can basically relive memories. This is a little weird. I mean, it's nice, but this is pretty cool. The panoramic view. You can walk straight into it and just like see the panoramic view. It's pretty amazing stuff. You can get in the same space with people and you can talk with them on FaceTime, and you are able to basically make a persona, and it's like a deep fake almost. So you'll basically scan your face with the Apple Vision Pro. It basically does a LiDAR like Face ID read, and look at that, man. That's amazing, dude. It's like this like amazing deep fake. And if you look at like what Meta has, they have their avatars, and I think there's a place for avatars as well. I for sure think there is a space for avatars. I think avatars are really cool too. But wow, look at this, man. Look at this deep fake tech by Apple. I mean, shit. So yeah, you'll be able to have a persona, and it'll look like you're talking when, you know, you're moving around in the space, and you're walking around basically showing people your presentation. It's actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's designed by Apple, so this is decades of research and user design. So it's apparently it's pretty front heavy. It's made out of like high quality like metal and glass, but apparently this back part is like really, really sturdy. So Apple definitely has the design down. It looks a lot better than any mixed reality headset that's ever come out. It looks amazing. It looks really cool. EyeSight, this is weird. So it looks like you have eyes. I mean, you have eyes, but it looks like you have eyes right here. But really it's a display that's transposing an image over you, or an image of your eyes, or a video of your eyes, which is odd, but it does have some use. So it can show people whether or not you are fully immersed, or just using apps, or not using anything at all. So because eye contact is a really big thing, so it's really cool that Apple's doing this. It is cool. It's just a little weird, but it's beautiful glass. Like this, they've had to completely reimagine supply lines and supply chains to bring this product to market. It's amazing. It's pretty amazing stuff. Vision OS is their new spatial and their first spatial operating system. So what's really cool is like you'll be able to see. So these apps and everything, they actually cast shadows in the software to give a sense of depth. It's really amazing. Like they thought of a lot of stuff here, and it's really amazing. And from what Marques Brownlee says, the eye tracking is amazing. Like it's like really advanced, and if you look, the software just knows, and you can just tap around. He said you can get lost in it, which is really cool, and that's what we like to hear. And it's only going to get better. This interaction, the interactions are basically pinches, which are pretty cool too. I mean that's what Meta does. I think it would be cool at some point to know like if you're actually using your finger if you're tapping on something, but again, this is their first generation. Like it's literally only going to get better from here. Built on the foundation of macOS, iOS, and iPadOS, VisionOS enables powerful spatial experiences. Control Vision Pro with your eyes, hands, and voice. Interactions feel intuitive and magical. And Marques Brownlee says he rarely uses the term magical in terms of user interface and user experience, but he said this was magical. So I think this is going to be really, really cool, and I'm really excited to use it for the first time. VisionOS apps can fill the entire, like an entire room around you, and they can be moved anywhere, scaled to perfect size, and react to the lighting in your room, and even cast shadows. Again, this is what I was talking about, where your eyes are going to be there, and like this little blue hue, it's basically letting people know that you are in an app, but you're still able to see them. And then where's the actual one that lets them know that you are fully immersed? Let me see. Come on. Well, this is the eye tracking. And on top of that, there is going to be Optic ID. So with Optic ID, you are going to it's basically going to be Face ID for your eyes, so they'll just scan your retinas, which is, again, Black Mirror. But hey, what are you going to do, baby? This is the future. This is the future. Speaking of the future, 23 million pixels in the size of 2 postage notes. Postage stamps. Amazing. Like, again, they with a micro OLED screen. Like, this is groundbreaking shit right here. Actually, like, this is actually groundbreaking shit. They have a dual chip process going on, so it's powered by the M2 chip from the Mac, so it runs VisionOS and executes advanced computer vision algorithms and delivers stunning graphics, all with incredible efficiency. And their new R1 chip is specifically designed and dedicated to process input from cameras, sensors, and microphones that stream images to the displays within 12 milliseconds for a virtually lag-free real-time view of the world. So this is their AR, like this is their mixed reality chip. This is what powers their mixed reality stuff. Really, really amazing. Of course, Apple's saying they're like the most security stuff. So it's built straight in. And we can use AR right now to actually view the Vision Pro. But yeah, this is the most groundbreaking computer in history. It's the most advanced computer on planet Earth. It's pretty amazing. It was really amazing getting to see it live as it played out. I was honored to see it. We saw the paradigm change in real time. Speaking of paradigm shifts, the crypto space is getting cracked down on in the United States. The SEC has been cracking down on Binance US. They have effectively said that CZ Binance and Binance US has been selling unregistered securities to people, and they have been allowing high net worth clients to trade on Binance International. Apparently, the chief compliance officer from Binance US, let's take a look, or I think it's just from Binance. Let's see what the chief compliance officer said. Let's take a look here. We got to find this, but it's a doozy. I'll tell you what. Actually, we can probably go on Twitter. We can probably go on Twitter and find it. SEC Gov. Oh, this is on May 5th. Come on, man. Where is it? Where is it? Come on, man. Did they get rid of it? Dude, hold up. Binance. Source? Trust me, bro. Binance CEO. Quote. Yep, there we go. Binance CEO is quote, or CEO, the chief compliance officer, is quoted as saying, "We are operating as a fucking unlicensed securities exchange in the United States, bro." This is not a good look. I like cryptocurrencies. Everyone knows that I like cryptocurrencies. I think cryptocurrency and blockchain as two separate things can be used as great tools to invoke change and be valuable and help people. But when shit like this comes up, it's a really, really bad look. And this is why I'm about regulation. And there has not been any comprehensive crypto regulation. They do go off of securities laws from 1946. They haven't changed. They really have not had any crypto-centric securities framework that has come out. Anything that has had lasting change on the industry. Because it's still really ripe with bad actors. And these bad actors should be weeded out. And I think it's good if the SEC is looking into wrongdoings that Binance and CZ of Binance are doing. All about that. Good stuff. But it doesn't stop there. It does not stop there because a day after, so back-to-back days, the SEC now is coming after Coinbase over exchange and staking programs. The SEC sued Coinbase on Tuesday, alleging that the company was operating as an unregistered exchange and broker, and that 13 assets listed on its platform were considered crypto asset securities. The regulator asked that the exchange be permanently restrained and enjoined from doing so. The suit comes one day after the SEC sued Binance and its co-founder, CZ. Moving on, the SEC has alleged that 13 crypto assets available to Coinbase were considered crypto asset securities by the regulator. Those assets include Solana's Sol token, Cardano's ADA token, and Protocol Labs' Filecoin. Quote, "We allege that Coinbase, despite being subject to these securities laws, commingled and unlawfully offered exchange, broker-dealer, and clearinghouse functions," Gary Gensler said in a statement. So they're coming after him. The Coinbase's institutional service Prime, its retail exchange product, and its self-custody wallet service all offered one or more crypto asset securities, the SEC said in its complaint. The SEC had already taken similar action to force the closure of the crypto exchange Kraken's staking service. So yeah, they're coming after him. And again, if there are wrongdoings here, I think I'm all about it. I think I'm all about the SEC coming after him. That being said, I just think it's weird that the SEC, they allowed Coinbase to go public, and they're the same entity that allows you to go public, the SEC. So where were the issues like 2 or 3 years ago when they let them go public? Again, I'm all about them catching bad actors, and maybe maybe Coinbase was hiding it, and they just lied to the SEC before they went public. And now the SEC just found out. Maybe, but I would like some more guidance here. Why is it we allowed Coinbase to go public as a publicly traded company, and after everything, now is when we're coming after them with the crypto exchanges? Because I know Solana was on Coinbase as a viable asset when it went public. And I know Cardano was, and I know Filecoin were. All three of those assets were on Coinbase when they went public and got approved by the SEC to go public. So I just want some guidance there. I just want some insight. I just want some more context to what's going on. Speaking of crypto is Gen Z's most common investment, and that may be risky, expert said. I'm only down like 80% on my crypto year to date. But moving on, if we take a look further, Yeah, crypto is held by 55% of Gen Z investors. Individual stocks were held by 41% of Gen Z investors, followed by mutual funds at 35% of Gen Z investors, NFTs at 25%, and ETFs at 23%. Definitely interesting that that Gen Z overwhelmingly is more in crypto than they are stocks and any other investment vehicle. By comparison, mutual funds were the most common holding among Gen X investors, a cohort born between 65 and 1980. 47% held mutual funds, followed by individual stocks at 43%, and 39% of them held crypto. Interesting. So even at Gen X, like 40% of them still hold crypto. So crypto, it's here to stay. There's not... People are not, I think like cracking down on bad actors in crypto, in the crypto industry is good. I think cracking down on exchanges are good, but Bitcoin is not going anywhere. That's not financial advice. I'm just saying, like, in the same way, if you took me saying Bitcoin is not going anywhere, the S&P 500 isn't going anywhere either. Is that financial advice? I don't think so. So yeah, Bitcoin's not going anywhere. And the more regulation there is, the more consumer protection there is. It's better for the industry. It further legitimizes it. And I think them cracking down on Coinbase and Binance is a good thing. Moving on to asset classes that, I don't think Gen Z has a lot of right now. And that is real estate. So if we take a look, the real estate numbers came out today, and they're talking about how mortgage application volume has declined 1.4% this week. The big one for me is applications for a mortgage to purchase a home are 27% lower than they were a year ago. Mortgage application volume is down 27% from last year. And it's because of high interest rates. It's because of the drop in terms of okay. Well, let me break this down. So again, and I'm going to be covering this on a video later. But high interest rates are primarily the reason why. They are primarily the reason why. The other thing though is people, they've got there was a lot of upscaling in terms of the everything bubble. People got into really big homes for relatively cheap in terms of what they were buying, and then shit got crazy, and then the supply chain shut down and it became really expensive to purchase a home. So this is people still reeling from the cost of living has gone up. Materials have gone up. They've come down from COVID highs, but the materials have gone up. The cost of labor has gone up. And now these homes are being made that are super duper expensive. And there are high interest rates on top of that. And people are still greedy, and they think they can get the money that they were getting in the pandemic or the housing explosion, the housing bubble. They were thinking they can still get that equity, but it's not there anymore. The equity's gone. People's equity in their homes are dropping right now. People are underwater on their homes right now. By hundreds of thousands of dollars, people are, as we speak right now. Getting evicted, having lost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in equity in their homes. And that 27% application volume drop off is it's the telltale sign. There are less people purchasing homes right now than a year ago, and I think it's only gonna keep going. I think it's only gonna keep going. Gen Xers, 80% of them think they will never fully retire, and according to this journalist, that may be good news for this group. Listen, we live in a corporatist environment, and governments and corporations want you to work until you die. That's what's going on here. They want you to work until you die. And 80% of Gen Xers think they'll never fully retire. 82% of Gen Xers plan to work part-time or are unsure they will be able to fully retire. when they come to that age. Now, this is what this journalist is saying. But the fact that so many Gen Xers plan to keep working could be seen as good news for this group. If they work longer, they may eventually save more. And with other recent retirement surveys showing that most Americans don't have enough money saved for retirement, it's likely many of them will need to do that. Okay, that is not a good thing. That is not a positive thing. Yeah, it's okay, because if they keep working, they can make more money. And they can actually live in America and not fucking starve and live in a dilapidated shanty. That's what they're fucking saying. How they keep you poor is stagnate the wages. Trickle down doesn't work. I'm a capitalist. Trickle down does not work. Trickle down is a corporatist policy. That is what trickle down is. It does not work. And this isn't like, oh, Dylan's going on a socialist arc. Dylan's a socialist. No, we all know that I'm a fucking red-blooded capitalist. Dude, I'm about commerce. Commerce. That's capitalism. Commerce. Corporatism is this shit. Corporatism is this fucking article. Corporatism. Corporatism is the 40-year mortgage. Corporatism is the meta avatar. Corporatism is extracting as much money out of people as possible and working them until they are fucking dead. And this is what is happening. This is this article. This is this reality. They have made renting impossible. And if you end up getting a decent place, you're locked in forever, basically. You're going to be an eternal renter. Forever. The wealth gap between renters and homeowners, not including the home. Not including the home. The home is out just like everything else except the home. Between renters and homeowners. The average net worth of a renter is $6,270. A homeowner, not factoring in the home, at $250,000. 40 times greater. 40 times greater. And this Gen X thing, I think that they'll end up getting more wealth. I think that, dude, the baby boomer wealth is going to trickle out. It already is. There is going to be a demographic shift. There's just going to be, and Gen Xers are going to be rich as shit, and then millennials are going to be rich as shit, and then Gen Z is going to be rich as shit, and then Gen Alpha, and so on and so forth. The wealth is going to move down. They can't take the money with them. They can't take the assets with them. They're just going to give them to their kids, or they're going to give them to the government via taxation or probate court. But that's going to be what happens. But this article is extremely worrisome. And it's not a good thing. This is not a positive. The plan for retirement is now. That is good. It's good that they're leaving that in there. But this is a scary reality for a lot of people. I mean, I'm going to be 21 in 4 days. I have a lot of time on my side. I am still extremely wealthy in the most important commodity there is, and that's time. And I plan to be able to retire, if I needed to. I'll probably always keep working. I'll probably always be doing something that I want to do, but not be forced to work. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are forced to work. I mean, Social Security is not enough right now. And Social Security is actually going to run out of money. I don't know. We don't know when. But it's unsustainable right now. How it stands. Its deficits are getting higher and higher each year. So Social Security, that's not an option for me. All that I can do is really try to invest and use my money and my time wisely. And I think Gen Xers are scared. When you're getting to this age, Gen Xers, you're getting scared now if you don't have enough. This is crazy. So Breakfast Club. There's 5 people here. Only one of them has enough saved for retirement. It's probably this fucking kid. It's probably this fucking asshole. It's probably. But only one of them has enough saved for retirement. Or at least they're confident enough that they have enough money saved for retirement. This isn't even monetary. This is psychological. People are scared. They don't think they have enough. Interesting stuff. I think to end off the Dylan Holy experience tonight, let's see what Mike Pence has to say about his presidential bid, which formally started today.
Tonight, former Vice President Mike Pence.
Is this a fucking... Just give me the speech. Hold up. Mike Pence, 2024 speech. Let's take a look. Let's just do this.
Let's listen as former Vice President Mike Pence officially announces his run for the Republican nomination for the presidency.
Well, hello, Iowa. Secretary Paul Pate, Congressman Greg Pence, Speaker Todd Huston, my fellow Hoosiers, my friends in Iowa, my fellow Americans, it is great to be back in the Hawkeye State. You know, Indiana will always be home for us. And I get why people make big announcements back home, in their hometown, at their resort, even on Twitter. But we wanted to be here, in person, in Iowa. We are here because we know that Iowa was the right place to start our engines for the great American comeback. We just wanted you to know, men and women of Iowa, we know the next Republican nominee for president and the next president of the United States will get their start right here in the Hawkeye State.
So Mike Pence is running against now Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Tim Scott. I'm sure all four of these candidates, and of course all the other ones running as well. Nikki Haley, who is, is she fully declared? Is Nikki Haley fully in? Let me see. Is Nikki Haley in? Nikki Haley is in, I think. Let me see. Fully. I just want to make sure. Yep. Yeah. So she's in the presidential primary. Started in 2023. So yeah, I'm sure all of these candidates are going to handle each other and themselves with poise. Hi, Braden. Dylan Holy experience. This is our last story of the night. But yeah, Mike Pence is running for president now against Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, and Tim Scott. Shit's going to get interesting. Shit's going to get fun. And we're going to cover it, of course, on the Dylan Holy experience. But I think that's all we have for you tonight. So here's what I'm going to ask you, members of the millions, to do. First things first, I want you to go over to twitter.com at RealDylanHoly. We're the G-rated hustlers. I'm a G-rated hustler, dude, host of the Dylan Holy experience. And of course, we're never giving out financial advice, only information and entertainment. And of course, key takeaways: every single day the market is open, the Dylan Holy experience is open for business. Half of y'all are watching me right now over on twitch.tv/Dylan Holy. Go ahead and give me a follow here. We're on the road to becoming a partner with them. And of course, go ahead. This is where the other half of y'all are watching me right now. YouTube.com/@Dylan Holy. Go ahead and give me a subscribe over there. It's also linked in either my about for Dylan Holy or my about on Twitch. So either one you can join and go from there. But yeah, that's all we have for you right now for the midweek market recap. Thank you all so much for watching. Always a pleasure. And you all have a lovely evening.